A very good afternoon to you. Many thanks for joining us. This is Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Welcome to the program. My name is Betty Kiptum and Lucy Maura is my colleague on the sign language interpretation. Now, Kenyans want Parliament, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission and the judiciary to take decisive action against perpetrators of hate speech. The Mijikenda Council of Elders claimed hate speech is a threat to free expression ahead of 2022, urging the judiciary to tame hate mongers by meting out severe punishment.
A group of elders are cautioning political leaders to tame their tongues and save Kenya from degenerating into chaos. The Mijikenda elders want NCIC and Parliament to make it expensive for hate mongers as a way of taming politicians seeking to divide the nation.
Pia tunatoa kauli kwa tume ya uwiano ili pia waweze kueleza Wakenya haya matamshi ambayo yanatamkwa sahihi. Je, watatuambia nini kulingana na muongozo, kwa sababu Kenya inataka kurudi kwa ile miaka ya 2007. Na saizi tunaelekea upande wa uchaguzi, na tusipojirekebisha Kenya itakuwa shida zaidi ya ile mwaka ya 2007. Na matamshi haya ndio ambayo yalichangia mambo yale, na tuliona majirani kwa majirani kupigana kwa sababu ya ukabila, kwa sababu ya siasa ambayo si mzuri.
The council's coordinator Suman Zai Kombe asked National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi to call out MPs who perpetrate hate speech in order to instill discipline among elected leaders.
Ndio tunasema judiciary waweze kutilia mkazo hasa haya mambo haya ya hate speech, waweze kutilia mkazo. Mtu anaposhikwa waweze kumweka katika ile sehemu ambayo inatakikana ili mwingine asiweze regelea.
Meanwhile, Covenant Clergy Alliance group of registered bishops and pastors in Kiambu County want the National Cohesion and Integration Commission to control hate speech in Kenya to avoid violence. Led by their chairman, Reverend David Kariuki Ngare, the group is calling on political class to tone down temperatures and allow development in the country to take root.
Kwa hivyo siasa zimeamuka, hatuwezi kusema ni kitu fulani, kwa maana Kenya hii ni Kenya ya siasa. Mnamaliza siasa, mnaingia siasa. Na ni lazima saa hii cohesions na watu kama mashirika yote ya kupigana na mambo kama hayo yaamuke, yaanze kuangalia kila mtu akiongea kitu
bazao. Na kwa sababu tumepona, tumesameana sisi zote, tunaomba tafadhali wawachane na siasa, wakubali tupone, hata kama ni 2022 tupige kura zetu kwa amani.
Now, an Isiolo-based community organization has developed a mobile application and a short messaging code to assist in the eradication of inter-community clashes in the counties of Isiolo and Marsabit. The newly devised strategy will enable peace ambassadors in the two counties to report crucial information to security officers for proactive action to combat the clashes.
According to Isiolo Gender Watch Executive Director Grace Lonim, locals fear volunteering information to the county security team as they think the information will leak out and endanger their lives. However, this will no longer be the case, as the Isiolo-based organization has now devised safer early warning reporting mechanism through a mobile phone application and a short messaging code without revealing the identity of the sender. Speaking after the completion of a training program of the platform for 56 peace ambassadors drawn from the two counties, Lonim noted that the application will be installed in a smartphone with a login code. Even those using other phones will also be able to send messages by dialing *384*021# for free.
Wakati tulikuwa tunafanya conflict analysis, mapping and analysis, tuliweza kutambua areas ambazo haya mambo huwa yanatokea, na hapo ndio tunajua kwamba tutapata early warning, tutapata ile indicators mara moja. Na kama upande ya Isiolo tuliweza kuangalia kuanzia Loruko, Kipsing, Leparwa, tuteremke Ngaremara, tukafika Gotu.
Isiolo County Commissioner Haman Shambe, who was present at the event, lauded the effort and urged the peace ambassadors from the two communities to take the lead role in eradicating frequent raids among local communities.
I am so excited about this new approach we umekuja nayo. Kwa sababu dunia hii leo mpaka wewe na AWS ama early warning system. Lakini wakati mwingine watu wanajua maneno mapema wanashindwa waripoti wapi. Wakati mwingine watu wako na mambo wanashindwa, wanaogopa kuripoti kwa sababu huenda wakajulikana na wakafuatwa. Hii ni mbinu mpya ambayo hautajulikana. Ikishaanza kazi kabisa. Wewe utakuwa unapeana habari na sisi tutakuwa tunashughulikia hiyo habari kuliko hata kutaka kujua mwenye umetwambia ni nani.
Tunataka amani hiyo. Tunataka amani hiyo. Amani, tunataka amani.
Now, Kenya Forest Service officers based in Londiani, Kericho County are holding a vehicle that was ferrying cedar posts from a forest in the area. The officers were forced to fire gunshots and deflate tires of the Probox vehicle after the driver defied orders to stop. Kericho County Ecosystem Conservator Stephen Kahunyo said illegal logging in the county has been on the rise and they were working with a multi-agency team to save the forest.
According to Kericho County Ecosystem Conservator Steve Kahunyo, this was not the first vehicle to be deflated, saying 10 other similar vehicles had been nabbed in the last month while transporting cedar posts from Londiani Forest. Kahunyo, who is in charge of 64,000 hectares of forest land in the county, said most notorious activities in the forest include cutting of cedar posts, charcoal burning and logging.
If you look at those proboxes, they have a very big market of these produce away even from the county, because most of it is going to as far as Kisumu.
He, however, said a multi-agency team was working to save the forest.
What you have seen today are just part of the efforts which have been made. We have those proboxes, the suspects, most of them are on the run, but others are already in court. And we are sure that justice will be taken.
The conservator sent a stern warning to loggers that the days are numbered.
To Baringo County now, rising water levels in Lake Baringo have submerged huge areas of farmland, forcing thousands of people to vacate their homes. There are now fears of a looming ecological disaster if nothing is done to stop the fast rising water levels.
This is Lake Baringo in Kenya's Great Rift Valley. It is a source of water to many people. After months of unusual heavy rain, the waters have risen to alarming levels. Thousands of acres of farmland have already been submerged and hundreds of people have been displaced from their homes. There are fears that the waters are now threatening wildlife.
Tunaona milima imekuwa kidogo kwa sababu ya maji ambayo sasa tumeona wanyama karibu sasa ishinde mahali pa kutembea, na hiyo wanyama wanachukuanga distance mingi mrefu ambayo sasa tunaona sasa maji wamefunga mali walikuwa wakitembea. Hata saa hizi kuna wengine wamefungia kama mali pengine kidogo ambayo ikichukua saa hizi kama wiki 2-3 ataweza koma kwa hiyo maji.
Residents have lost hope of seeing the waters receding and want action to save the vital tourism and agricultural sectors.
Mimi naona saa hii maji imeongezeka kwa kilomita karibu kilomita 1 saa hii kutoka Kutemi kama umbali hivi. Lakini saa hii tunaona maji imekuja sasa mpaka ile distance sasa ambayo ya milima imechukuliwa sana na maji ambayo sasa imebaki mali kidogo ambayo hatujui kama ikinyesha kuendelea kunyesha namna hii, hatujui kama itasamaliza mwaka ama itakuwa namna gani.
They say deforestation has led to the lake filling up the silt. Whatever the cause for the extreme weather changes in the region, it is a race for survival to escape the wrath of Mother Nature. Purity Museo, Channel 1 News.
Now, the World Bank is constructing a stormwater drainage system in Githurai, Kiambu County to address perennial flooding menace. The 50 million shillings project will benefit 50,000 residents who have been battling raw sewer and perennial waterborne diseases.
Residents of Githurai, Ruiru, Kiambu County are set to benefit from a 50 million shilling storm water drainage system. The World Bank is constructing a 2-kilometer waterway that will put to an end raw sewer spillage, especially during rainy season. According to Saranjeri, a resident, there have been concerns on property destruction and possible waterborne disease outbreak in the affected areas owing to recurrent flooding.
Wakati inatoka huko juu inateremka hivi, choo zote zinabebwa, zinateremkia hapa. Kwa hivyo tunakuaga na shida sana. Wakati mwingine inaingia kwa plot, inaingia kwa manyumba, mpaka tunashindwa kukaa kwa hizo manyumba.
The locals poor planning of the area.
Tulisema tu thanks to God. Juu sasa itakuwa inatusumbua tena.
It is now a wait and see state for residents in Githurai on how long the project will take and the benefits that would come with it. Irene Mchoma Odim, Channel 1.
Now, an octogenarian widow in Mombasa County is appealing to the Director of Criminal Investigations to help her recover property worth 600 million shillings. Katharina Walele, whose late husband was a prominent businessman, claims her sons want to disinherit her using a forged will.
80-year-old Katharina Walele is a bitter widow. Since the death of her husband, Gaspar Walele, in 2012, she has been at loggerheads with her 3 sons. Katharina claims they want to swindle her of matrimonial property worth 600 million shillings.
Nikitafuta hii mali, wengine walikuwa hawajazaliwa. Huyu mkubwa ndiye alikuwa kwa na miaka 7 na alikuwa kwa skuli hapa Makupa. Sasa mulichangia nini kupata hii mali? Ikawa hawanisikii. Toka hapo paka leo mwaka wa 8 wananisumbua.
Addressing the media in her home in Majengo, the mother of 12 said her sons have ganged up against her and want to use a forged will to deny her access to the estate.
Hii mali inasemekana na mimi niko hai. Sasa nashindwa. Kuna mtu akanyang'anywa mali yake alichuma na bwanake. Na hakuna siku tulikosana. Alifariki akiwa mkononi mwangu.
According to one of our daughters, Eleonora Walele, who is also the family spokesperson, they reported the matter to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations Officers, Mombasa County.
Tumekuwa na shida sana. Kwanza kwa upande wa mama, vijana wakimsumbua kuhusu urithi wa baba. Tumekuwa tukisumbuana kwa kiasi na kwa muda. Na saizi niko hapa na baadhi za will. Zile vijana wanapigania, wanasema hizi will ni mali halali marehemu baba Walele aliwaandikia.
Property in question includes commercial buildings and plots in Mombasa and Nairobi, and also chunks of land in Taita Taveta County.
Kwa hivyo naomba msaada kwa serikali wanisaidie. Huu wili unasemekana huko, mimi siujui. Tulipata shida sana tukitafuta na bwanangu.
The late Walele served as councillor of the defunct Mombasa Municipal Council and was one-time Mombasa branch chairman of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Timothy Kipnusu for Channel 1 News.
Well, that story by Timothy Kipnusu brings us to our first break here on Channel 1 Lunchtime News. But when we come back, we shall be giving you details on the release of Garissa Governor Ali Korane over a 233.5 million shillings graft charges. That and more coming up after the break. Don't go far.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola. Taste the simple joys.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
I really can't be bothered anymore. I hate boxing. It's so violent and barbaric. No offense.
Boy, please.
One day, utanid Lucky Tena. And a lot of other people in the future. I'd like to go home.
Did you remember something?
If that's why you brought me here, it's not helping. Take me home.
Jules, I'm sorry.
Let's go.
I just thought that...
That's your problem. You don't think. You never think.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Why have you become so insolent, Andrea?
I have my reasons, don't you agree?
What's wrong? Why would you say that?
You haven't told him anything, have you?
Please, Andrea.
What was he supposed to tell me?
Listen, I really don't want to become more paranoid, but we really have to be very careful. It would be absolutely awful if Susanna found out about us.
What do you want, huh? Why are you doing this?
I'm the one that asks questions. If you behave, nothing will happen to you.
And Sophia? What have you done with her?
She's doing well.
In love with Ramon.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, Garissa Governor Ali Korane has been released on 3.25 million shillings cash bail or an alternative over 5 million shillings bond with a surety of a similar amount after denying 233.5 million shillings graft charges. In granting bail, Chief Magistrate Douglas Ogoti said he had considered the fact that there was no loss of money disclosed in the charge. Korane has also been barred from accessing his office until the matter is heard and determined.
Garissa Governor Ali Korane has joined the list of county chiefs who have been restricted from accessing their offices over graft allegations. Korane was on Tuesday morning arraigned at the Milimani Low Court in Nairobi of alleged embezzlement of 233 million shillings from the World Bank under the Urban Support Program. Korane and 4 other county officials who appeared before the Anti-Corruption Court Chief Magistrate Douglas Ogoti were charged with conspiracy to commit an offense of economic crime, willful failure to comply with laws related to the management of funds, and misappropriation of public funds. Korane and his co-accused Ibrahim Malo Noor, Mohammed Ahmed Abdullahi, Abdi Shale and Hamed Abdullahi Eden denied all the charges. Lawyer Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi, who represented the governor, asked for the court to give the accused lenient bail terms. In granting bail, Chief Magistrate Douglas Ogoti said he had considered the fact there was no loss of money disclosed in the charge and released the governor on a 3.25 million shillings cash bail or a 5 million shillings bond.
Accused 1 to a cash bail of Kenya shillings 3,250,000 or a bond of Kenya shillings 5 million with one surety of similar amount. Accused 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 to a cash bail of 1,200,000 or a bond of Kenya shillings 3 million with one surety of similar amount.
Korane has also been barred from accessing his county office and ordered to deposit his passport in court.
All accused are hereby barred from their offices, only allowed to visit while accompanied by an officer from the EACC. They should not make any attempt to approach or interfere with any witness in whatever form. This will lead to automatic cancellation of bond terms.
The other 4 county officials were granted a cash bail of 1.2 million shillings each and also barred from accessing their offices.
Moving on, the Kenya Red Cross Emergency Medical Services has received 5 additional portable isolation chambers from the Swiss government. While receiving the donation, Emergency Plus Medical Services Managing Director Susan Ngonga said the 5 isolation chambers will strongly position the Red Cross in the ongoing efforts to mitigate the impact of COVID-19. The portable isolation chamber is a single patient unit that is designed to transport a contaminated patient or a patient with a risk of biological contamination so as to aid in reducing the risk of contamination during evacuation.
These units will ensure the evacuation process is safer and easier for both our first responders and the patients. Despite the pandemic effects, we never settled for less. In line with reducing the risk of infection, E-Plus embraced innovation, and in May 2020, we launched a telemedicine service called eDoc. This is a virtual consultation platform where patients can access doctors from the comfort of their homes.
Now, legislative readers drawn from Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean and America have resolved to end human conflicts between African and European nations at the conclusion of the 2020 International Leadership Conference held virtually in South Korea. The leaders also have challenged the international community and the media to focus on nation-building stories in Africa.
According to legislative leaders, Africa has great potential and opportunities in almost every sector that need to be highlighted and tapped. Speaker of the Ugandan Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, called on political leaders in Africa to put in place policies to promote research and innovation on the continent's natural resources.
To ensure that the resources we allot go to the right purpose and that they are able to make a difference in our communities. We also have a duty to work on issues of interstate mediation processes.
Hilikba, former deputy speaker, the Knesset, Israel challenged the media to shun the narrative of corruption, extreme poverty, and civil strife on the African continent.
It's important to note and understand, for example, that only in 30 years, in 2050, 1/3 of the people under the age of 30 will be living in Africa. And this is a huge fact that we should pay attention to and get ready to deal with.
He said focus should instead be on creating awareness on available opportunities in Africa. On his part, Tini Oiseni, president of the National Assembly of Niger, said the coronavirus pandemic had presented an opportunity to rethink humanity. The virtual conference was organized by the Universal Peace Federation, co-founded by Hak Jahanmun. Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1.
The coronavirus pandemic rages around the world. It is emerging that women and girls are more vulnerable to abuse. It is with this in mind that a community-based organization in Embu County has initiated a program to help victims of gender-based violence get justice.
Christine Joseph, not her real name, can vividly remember the day she lost her innocence to her uncle in 2016.
Nakumbukanga ilikuanga holiday. Tulikuwa tumefunga shule. So msee alikuja akaniambia, Wairimo, so nisaidie na Panadol. Amwambia mimi for now sidhani ama iko, maybe subiri nikuangalilie. Nilikuwa nafanya job yangu tu hapo nje kungarisha. Saa kidogo vile nilimwangalilia, kumpatirishia kwake ananivutanisha ndani. Kufika ndani amenifunga hadi mdomo. Akaanza tu story zake.
At the tender age of 15, she became a mother from an act she knew nothing about.
Kutoka hivyo nilipata mtoi, life by the way change. Cause mom ni alinisaidianga kiasi. Dad said to support, so mi naweza tusema tunang'ang'ananga mimi na mom.
With the help of I Am Empowerment Program, a community-based organization helping women and girls get justice from any form of violence, Christine and many other women in Embu County have seen their perpetrators punished for their crimes.
In 3 months, wanga tunapata reports za not less than 80 to 100 people, both women and children, ambao wanapitia gender-based violence.
According to Christine Karaoke, a team leader at the I Am Empowerment Program, during the COVID-19 crisis, cases of gender-based violence affecting women and girls have been on the rise.
Kile ambacho kinachangia gender-based violence ni kutokuwa na knowledge kuhusu maisha yao na wazee wao nyumbani.
The organization hopes to reach out to more women and girls in the region and beyond who are victims of gender-based violence and are yet to get justice. Purity Museo, Channel 1 News.
Now to the international front, a report by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation says the coronavirus pandemic has pushed global development back by more than 20 years. Data from the Johns Hopkins University shows more than 29 million people globally have been infected by COVID-19 and 928,000 have succumbed.
An annual report by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has found the spread of coronavirus has pushed global development back more than 2 decades. The report further says tens of millions of people have been exposed to the threat of more poverty, inequity, and disease. More than 29 million people around the world have been diagnosed with the virus, and 927,245 have died. According to Johns Hopkins University, nearly 20 million people have recovered. Meanwhile, India is facing oxygen scarcity as the coronavirus cases surge. Hospitals are occupied by COVID-19 patients, many of whom need piped oxygen from the tank to breathe. Each small tank is getting exhausted in 6 hours instead of the usual 9 hours because of the influx of patients. Further afield, climate change has taken center stage in the U.S. presidential campaign. While touring fire-ravaged California, U.S. President Donald Trump downplayed the role a warming planet could have in the devastation. Trump instead suggested temperatures will start getting cooler and that the recent fires were caused by lack of proper forest management. On the other hand, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden said Trump is a climate arsonist. Biden said at an event in Delaware that 4 more years of his opponent in White House could see more America burning. Blazes in California, Oregon, and Washington state have burnt almost 2 million hectares of land and killed at least 36 people since early August. Meanwhile, a newly formed hurricane is closing in on the U.S. Gulf Coast, threatening several southern U.S. states. Hurricane Sally grew to a Category 2 storm on Monday and was expected to make landfall early on Wednesday. Alabama and Mississippi each have declared state of emergency in anticipation of the storm. This year's hurricane season has been particularly active. And the police chief involved in the killing of a black man in the U.S. has been sacked. This even as 2 other officials were suspended. Daniel Proob's death in the New York State in March led to days of protest in Rochester and was one of the key events in months of unrest over racial injustice in the U.S. Finally, the UK's departure from the European Union is now fully back on the agenda after a big day of development in London. The House of Commons has voted on a controversial new bill published by the government. The UK is currently in a period known as transition that keeps it bound to the EU rules until 31st of December.
We have the latest update on Aviation, but for that, details, just come and join us after this short break.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Get out of here! Do not dare to show up here again, or else you will be dead!
I'm here to meet Gaston.
Did not you hear what I just said? That Khurasans do not snitch against each other!
My son hasn't done anything.
So what if he is regent? Ultimately, he is the king. And a king is considered as God's envoy. That's why an attack on the king is an attack on God himself.
They will keep creating obstacles. They will keep doing this to Sushim. There is no doubt about the fact that Sushim is weaker than Ashok.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Why have you become so insolent, Andrea?
I have my reasons, don't you agree?
What's wrong? Why would you say that?
You haven't told him anything, have you?
Please, Andrea.
What was he supposed to tell me?
Listen, I really don't want to become more paranoid, but we really have to be very careful. It would be absolutely awful if Susanna found out about us.
What do you want, huh? Why are you doing this? I'm the one that asks questions. If you behave, nothing will happen to you. And Sophia? What have you done with her? She's doing well.
In Love with Ramon. Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
I really can't be bothered anymore. I hate boxing. It's so violent and barbaric. No offense. Boy, please. One day, utanid lucky tena. And a lot of other people in the future. I'd like to go home.
Did you remember something?
If that's why you brought me here, it's not helping. Take me home.
Jules, I'm sorry.
Let's go.
I just thought that...
That's your problem. You don't think. You never think.
Back, let's now do the business news. Low-cost carrier Jambojet has diversified into charter operations as it seeks to tap emerging consumer needs and boost its revenue stream. Jambojet Acting Managing Director Karanjan Degwa says the new business line aims at supplementing the scheduled flight operations.
The outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic saw travelers drastically scale down on traveling as countries imposed restrictions which hurt airlines. The International Air Transport Association, IATA, estimates that air traffic could reduce 51%, costing African airlines about $6 billion in lost passenger revenue this year when compared to 2019. This has seen airlines back to re-strategizing after they grounded most of their aircraft for 4 months due to COVID-19 pandemic. This has prompted Jambojet to enter the charter business targeting business people, families and groups that may be attending social events such as weddings, corporates, missions and humanitarian bodies with operations outside major towns to take up the charter operations.
The pricing is determined by quite a number of variable factors, be it the distance, be it the market, be it the costings are different from across the board. So what we do is that once you have where you want to go, you will share that with us and we'll cost it for you.
He says the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in a shift in consumer needs, with some preferring privacy, convenience and their safety. This has pushed the airline into introduction of the non-scheduled service.
Charter is not a new thing in Kenya, and therefore we have already an existing market segment. Our objective is to come in and grow the business of charters. So we'll focus in the domestic, we'll look at regional.
The charter can accommodate up to 78 passengers per flight, depending on the route.
Across borders now, Thailand has converted half its prisons into tourist attractions in a bid to boost its tourism industry as the Southeast Asian nation struggles to recover from the impact of the coronavirus epidemic. A prison in Ayutthaya, a city about 80 kilometers north of Bangkok, is one of the jails selected for an experiment by Thai authorities. Thailand seeks to open up 72 of the country's 143 prisons to the public as a new type of tourist attraction. Here are the details of these and more in our international business roundup.
For almost a century, it was the main jail in Ayutthaya. But when it could no longer cope with the growing number of inmates, a new prison was built, allowing the old jail to be turned into a rehabilitation center. Now, visitors can take a closer look at some of the daily activities performed by prisoners, such as taking part in construction projects, farming and cooking courses. Visitors will only be allowed to see inmates in workshops, farms or in a public cafe, but not in their jail cells. Meanwhile, the potentially damaging impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on food supplies has seen small-scale organic farms usher in greater business opportunities in Turkey. Rainbow Organic Farm is an agro-ecological dairy, meat and poultry enterprise situated in the western suburb of Istanbul. From chickens to goats, rabbits and ducks, animals at the farm have a lot of space to roam and feed on natural nutrient-rich soil. Among the most popular produce are the special green and blue eggs hatched by chickens kept free range in different areas. The eggs, which contain higher protein and lower cholesterol levels, sell for $1.07 each. The farm currently has over 15,000 chicken of over 10 different species. Finally, officials in Venice, Italy, are exploring ways of developing the tourism industry under the epidemic conditions after holding the first physical festival in the city. The Venice Film Festival is the first physical international event since COVID-19 outbreak started earlier this year. While those in the hospitality industry welcomed the visitors, many residents are calling for limits. The festival indicates that the city is gradually returning to normal life, although many shops and restaurants remain closed. Since coronavirus restrictions were imposed in the spring, an estimated 50,000 people in the city have lost their jobs. Regina Manyara reporting for Channel 1 Business.
In sports, Barcelona forward Lionel Messi has topped the Forbes list for highest earning footballers in 2020. Forbes estimated Messi's yearly earnings at $126 million, with Juventus' Cristiano Ronaldo second on $117 million. Neymar was in third, with Paris Saint-Germain teammate Kylian Mbappe fourth. Three English Premier League players, including Mohamed Salah, Paul Pogba and David De Gea, made the top 10, as did Real Madrid and Wales forward Gareth Bale. Argentine Messi tried to leave Barcelona at the end of last season and submitted a transfer request in August, but decided to stay because no club would be able to afford his release clause. Now you are up to date on the latest news. That is what we had for you this afternoon. Many thanks for joining us. From myself, Betty Kiptum, and Lucy Maura, my colleague on the sign language interpretation. Have yourself a lovely afternoon.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru.
Did you know that we are a TVET-approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 22 7428 Thika branch, 0725 000 706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
People gonna say all kind of things about you. Weak them out. Just shake up. Need to mush you and done to mush you. When your booty gonna show me now. Baby, one time. Bossy baby, give me 2 times. Full 180. Crazy. Trago ya la botella. Let's go. Ha. I needed some with some bop in it. Mamacita, where you at? I've been trying to reach you. Choro, 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 choro. Get the pago, get the party more, get the pago. Katoto shepu awe, ayawe, ayawe. Tekenya katoto, kamini tekenya, tekenya katoto.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Get out of here! Do not dare to show up here again, or else you will be dead.
I'm here to meet Dastan.
Did not you hear what I just said? That Khurasans do not snitch against each other.
My son hasn't done anything.
So what if he is regent? Ultimately, he is the king. And a king is considered as God's envoy. That's why an attack on the king is an attack on God himself.
They will keep creating obstacles. They will keep doing this to Sushim. There is no doubt about the fact that Sushim is weaker than Ashok.
Next on
unapata wanawake wengi kwa sasa ni ngumu sana kupata makazi ama ni ngumu sana kuruhusiwa kwenda kufanya makazi. Mwanamke akiolewa unapata ni ngumu sana mume wake kumpa ruhusa aende akafanye kazi. Kisa na sababu ni
mwanamke wa Kiislamu anapaswa kuwa na elimu ya dini na ya dunia, kama alivyosema Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, talabul ilm faridhatun ala kulli muslim, yani kumaanisha kutafuta elimu ni lazima kwa kila binadamu ambaye ni Muislamu.
on the next episode of
salamu ya mwisho wa mukata.
Na mkata nani?
Kwenda hujamkata mtu.
Jamani bana, kama hii safari twaenda na tuende, na kama hatuendi na mimi ndugu zangu nyumbani.
Siwezi.
Mfungua huo mzigo, weza kuwa ni bangi ama madawa ya kulevya. Alafu maaskari wakaja hapa tukashikwa.
Bangi?
Kwani Mungu fungua?
Serikali wanuje bangi. Ajue hapa kuna bangi.
Kuna nini mmangu? Kuna nini huko ndani?
this Tuesday on KBC Channel 1.
Okay, so fine. Sometimes it feels like it's too much to handle. But you have to stand up and carry on. Don't remember the kind of relationship we had. I want to understand. I need to know.
Ramon never made it to his wedding. He stood her up. He took off with an ex-girlfriend from Tijuana.
I can't believe it. That imbecile was capable of doing that to Fabiola.
Well, I called it. Anyway, you now have a clear path to her. And I'm so sure she's gonna need you to console her.
In love with Ramon. Next on.
Because your pocket could have deeper than nice.
And we fall in love like we did before. I spy that you see something you might like. Won't you come over if you really feel it?
Yeah. Giving you the best of me. Giving you the best of me.
Mbona unanipikia yako tu simu sai? Kwanza pasti yako imefika ama imepita? Kama imepita na huku niita, tafadhali sishiki hii simu yako. Lakini kama pato itafika na ukushu utaniita, nitashika. Nitakamatako tu sahi. Kuwa mpole, be sorry.
Kupata birthday, bonyeza star 811 star 962 hash. Bonyeza star 811 star 962 hash.
Same question that I have been asking me. Why has July decided to extend its wings into September? I mean, the cold. Oh my days.
Oh my God, I love the weather, man, yeah?
You see where they're singles.
You just need to, dress well and,
And you look dapper. You look dapper.
Can you say that again?
You look really nice.
You're the second person who has heated on me today, man.
Hit
Is
on
it
you?
because of my,
I did not hit on